Hello, and welcome to this overview of new releases that I read that were published in April of 2025. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot, and you're watching Random Olive Reads. An Impulsive Kiss by Alexa Aston is a historical romance in book two of the Captivating Kisses series. Judson has a tragic backstory here with being bullied at school and then beaten and punished by his guardian uncle at home to the point where he thinks that he's dark inside and does not deserve love. He meets Lucy, who is in her debut season, and even though he's attracted to her, he thinks that she deserves someone better and tries to stay away. Until he can't. Lucy is equally attracted to Judson, but she's trying her best to enjoy her first season and look for a serious prospect to marry. But we all know she's going to end up with Judson anyway. I loved how Judson slowly starts to open up to Lucy and some new friends and starts to yearn for love and affection for himself. We get some bonus drama with some villainous bullies and that terrible uncle, but it all resolves pretty quickly without leaving us hanging. This is an easy and comfy read. The Duke Disaster by Kathleen Ayers is a historical romance in book one of the League of Extraordinary Widows series. Widowed Celia is living it up after getting out from under the overbearing thumb of her brother in law. She was basically unloved and discarded by her husband immediately upon marriage, so she's doing her best to find some fun and affection. Unfortunately, it has caused her to collect a scandalous reputation, and the family duke, Oliver, is called in to corral her behavior. Oliver is the model of propriety and rigid in all his standards, mostly due to the influence of his very strict mother, so he is instantly aggravated by Celia's behavior despite being intensely attracted to her. His anger slash attraction is about to boil over at any moment, and we're not sure if it'll lead to a proposal or an affair. Celia really is just looking for any shred of affection, and her reality is not as scandalous as her reputation appears, but she does love to thumb her nose at all of Oliver's strict mandates. It's pretty tense to read how much they dislike each other, and I did wonder how they would eventually work it out. Overall, this is a solid, steamy read. The Duke and Lady Scandal by Christy Carlisle is a historical romance and book one of the Princes of London series. This one is a super fun adventure type romance between an outspoken bluestocking and a gruff Scotland Yard inspector. Alexandra, or Allie to her friends and family, has been left behind to run the family antique shop while her siblings are off on an excavation. And then she overhears some possibly nefarious plotting at the coffee shop next door. She's instantly off to Scotland Yard to warn someone and connects with Ben, the serious inspector she meets there. Ben's pretty much the only person to take her seriously, so she's extra impressed by him. It's most definitely instant attraction for these two, but they're doing their best to keep things professional. Somehow they end up entangled in each other through this mystery and have to team up to put all their clues together. I really love this one. A Duke Never Tells by Suzanne Enoch is a historical romance and a standalone novel. This a quick little trip to spy on Meg's future husband has turned into total disaster in this very funny historical rom-com. Basically, Lady Meg is in an arranged marriage to a duke with a terrible reputation. So she and her aunt Clara go playing the part of a lady and companion to visit the duke's estate. Except James is a grumbly sort of duke who is not interested in playing tour guide, so he pretends to be the butler and then introduces his man of business, Elliot, as the duke. So we have four different people pretending to be someone they're not, and it all gets worse when Meg injures her ankle and they have to stay there and keep up their roles for 2 weeks. And of course, we get a double romance here with Clara and Elliot pairing off and Meg and James growing closer together. No one knowing the other person's true identity. It's mostly funny and sweet and enjoyable read, especially since we get to see all four characters' points of view along the way. Hardly a Gentleman by Eloisa James is a historical romance in book two of the Accidental Brides series. Clara is a walking scandal after hitting the prince with her reticule. On her way to Scotland to stay with her aunt, she hitches a ride with a different carriage who's there to pick up a new housekeeper. She's clearly not a housekeeper, and an even worse, fake housekeeper, but she's befriended the driver and she's on her way. Caitlin is the widowed laird who has basically let his estate go to rot because he's completely apathetic and rustic. But the town thinks that he's heartbroken over the loss of his wife, and he doesn't even have the interest to correct them. When Clara shows up as the new housekeeper, he knows she's really a lady, but he's instantly attracted to her and eventually decides he wants to keep her there. I loved how delightfully messy these two people are and how they're able to be fairly direct and honest with each other. It was a lot of fun to read, and I liked seeing their romance develop and get to know that meddlesome town that Kaylin oversees. Hazardous to a Duke's Heart by Sabrina Jeffries is a historical romance and book one of the Lords of Hazard series. John comes back from a French prison after being detained for 11 years to find himself a duke, and the daughter of his mentor now lives in his house as his sister's governess. Due to John's guilt over his mentor's death, he decides to secretly give Tori a dowry to see her settled into marriage. But he knows he's not a good prospective husband because she'll end up hating him for whatever happened with her father. Tori's totally uninterested in marriage due to her own secrets, and she'd rather use the money to open an art school. There's a whole lot of bickering and banter between John and Tori, but they're very much attracted to each other and can't quite seem to stay away. I enjoyed reading this book and learning all the backstory and the secrets that everyone's hiding. And of course, John is a much better man than he's giving himself credit for. Crash Landing by Annie McQuaid is a contemporary romance and a standalone novel. This is a second chance romance after crashing on a deserted island. Piper is on her way to her best friend's destination wedding, and a canceled flight puts her on a private plane with her ex boyfriend Wyatt piloting. And then they crash and are stuck together on an island until rescue can come. Totally awkward, but also gives them a chance to actually talk to each other and make up. We get a split of present day and past time chapters, all from Piper's point of view. So we get to slowly see how they got together as high schoolers, and then we slowly see how they become more comfortable around each other on the island. Between the survival terror and the emotional angst here, it makes for a higher stakes read than most contemporary romances. I enjoyed it and thought that Wyatt's caretaking of Piper was really nice. Side note here, the spice level is a fade to black. The Lady Who Left by Jenny B. Moore is a historical romance in book four of the Flower Sister series. There's loads of angst and drama in this book. Marigold is tired of being talked down to and takes a stand against her husband when he wants to send her sweet son off to a cruel school. She's looking to divorce the man but knows her case is shaky. She's lucky that her new barrister, Archie, is so tenacious. She's less lucky that they're both attracted to each other and need to fight their feelings to keep things professional. Archie is super sweet and outgoing and charming and also very protective of Marigold. Watching these two fall in love is an absolute delight. I loved how he was interested in almost anything that Marigold talks about and believes that she truly deserves care and love. He's also absolutely amazing with her sons and treated them with so much respect. I love this book. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found a book or two to add to your TBR. Links to all of these books are in the description box. Like and subscribe to get updates, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.